Hey everybody, how's it going? Hope you're having a lovely day. Welcome to today's episode of How You're Getting Fucked. I'm your host, Louis Rossman, and today we're going to be following up on one of my favorite subjects recently, which is the AI surveillance cameras that are kind of starting to cover my entire country. They're called license plate readers, and one of the reasons I despise them being called license plate readers is because that's not exactly what they do. As it says on their own company website here in Flock, no plate, no problem. Capture more detail with vehicle fingerprint in Flock-free form. Turn images into actionable evidence, no plate required. And as I've gone over in prior videos, they literally have people in other countries that are actually listening to the different types of screams that are heard at any given point in time, so that people in third world countries can classify whether they think it's a kid or an adult or something else. These cameras are so much more than just your standard license plate reader that's there to figure out if you didn't pay your toll. And one of the latest stories that came across my radar was this one. I found the defense that he was using particularly funny. Manisha police officer accused of using his license plate recognition system to track his ex. Manisha police officer Christian Morales was charged Friday with one count of misconduct in office for allegedly using a license plate recognition system to track his ex-girlfriend. One of the conditions for his bond for bail was to not access Flock cameras or work as a police officer. According to the complaint, Morales' ex-girlfriend complained that he had used the Flock system to monitor her location. A review of Morales' activity showed that he tried to use it 5 different times for her vehicle in early October. Christian indicated that, and I quote, "Desperation, bad judgment, combined with a lack of sleep contributed to his decision to use Flock. He also indicated that he knew his decision to use Flock was wrong, but it was out of pure moment of desperation and lack of judgment," he states. The Manisha Police Department said he was placed on administrative leave. Now, one of the problems with these systems is the way they're put together is it's very, very easy to abuse it, and then you only figure it out when something happens later. And I don't get good sleep a lot, so this is one of the things that annoys me here, because I have a lot of sympathy for people that don't get good sleep, because I don't sleep very well, if you couldn't tell from the way that I look for like the last 37 years. But when I get 5 hours of sleep instead of 9 hours of sleep, one of the things that does not pop into my head is let me use a national invasive surveillance system to figure out everywhere every woman that I've ever dated has been so I can stalk them. That doesn't pop into my head. Maybe I do a little bit less work that day. Maybe I take an Uber instead of driving. I don't stalk everybody. What the fuck is wrong with you? When you talk about what people are doing with these, I mean, just in Houston recently, there was this thing where they were being used to search for people like a search engine. They added a little box that requires that you type in why you're using it, which is supposed to stop all this misuse, and people are filling that with ASDF and donut. This is one of the main reasons that we have a website called Alpr.watch. The entire purpose of this website is to try and stop these cameras from ever showing up. Many of you are familiar with a website called dflock.me, which I think is an amazing website that does a good job. dflock.me is a website that allows you to see where these cameras are installed near you, so you know if the cameras are installed near you. But that's not what I'm interested in solving with this website. This website is about stopping these cameras before they get installed. When you go to Alpr.watch, I would toggle hide past meetings so you can only see meetings that are happening right now. These are not where cameras are. These are where cameras are being proposed to be installed. $10,000 invoice for Flock cameras. City went for $500 over the approved budget during there. Over this one over here, approval of Flock Safety OS Plus 3-year agreement. Over here, discussion of letter from ACLU Rhode Island urging against the installation of Flock cameras. So the point of this website is to make it as easy as possible for you to know when these cameras are going to be installed near you. So instead of having to push back against something that's already there, you can stop it before it happens. Your city council has meetings, and most of you don't know that these meetings exist because you work 8 hours a day, because you probably work closer to 12 hours a day if you're paying rent in 2026. You have a family, you have school, you have a life. And admittedly, navigating their website usually sucks. That's what we are here to do. This tool navigates over 2,000 city websites and scrapes on a regular basis and grabs all of this for us to audit. We then go through that information with our moderators. We audit it to figure out if this is a real Flock camera installation hearing, and only if it has been confirmed by a human after the scraping has been done do we add it to this map. It may make it as easy as humanly possible. You can insert your email over here, and then you can put in your zip code. And if you put in your email and your zip code, anytime there is a hearing that is going to be near you, you will get an email with that so that you know when that hearing is occurring so that you don't miss out. The thing that I hear more often on this comment section than anything else is, I had no idea they were installing these in my area. Well, now you're going to know when they're being installed in your area, and you can push back against it. That is the purpose of the site. Now you may think, well, Louis, I don't know what to say once I show up. Well, I know where the meeting is and I know when it is, but what do I say? Well, that's what this page is for. We're going to implement this into Alpr.watch soon. I'm going to be talking with Snoot about that. This is a link from consumerrights.wiki, common questions, arguments, and responses when discussing Flock surveillance. So if somebody comes up with an argument like, you have no expectation of privacy in public, what are you, a dumbass? Do you think you have an expectation of privacy in public? Yes, you do. There is a reasonable standard in Fourth Amendment law. A person does not surrender all Fourth Amendment protection by venturing into the public sphere. And if something generates a precise, comprehensive record of a person's public movements that represents a wealth of detail about their familial, political, professional, religious, and sexual associations, the Supreme Court, not some random fuckface, not a YouTuber, not an influencer, the Supreme Court has said that's not okay. So you can push back against that using all of these different court cases over here. You can see all the legal theories around it. We cite all of those different legal theories, all the false positives and systems failures, all of the innocent people that have been held at gunpoint because of these systems, all the stalking incidents. It's all here with proper citations. So you can study and read up on this. And when you're showing up, you're not just going to show up with some random crap some influencer told you, but you could show up with the direct PDF of the Supreme Court case and you can read from it yourself. We want to make it as easy as possible to push back against all of this bullshit, because this is not the world that I want to live in. I don't want to live in a country where I'm being watched everywhere that I go. I'm not anti-police. I do not have like a all cops are bad sticker on my car or anything like that. But I also value my privacy. I know there's going to be some Weisenheimer that says something like, Louis, what makes this different from every other camera you have outside? There's cameras everywhere you go anyway. The pizzeria has cameras, but the only person who has access to the pizzeria's cameras is the owner of the pizzeria. The brewery across the street from me has cameras, and they're only viewable by the employees of the brewery. I have cameras at my business, and they're only viewable by the manager, myself, and the building manager. That's it. People that say this in the comments, that there's cameras everywhere you go anyway, forget what CCTV stands for. And this is one of the reasons that I despise acronyms so much, and I hate the people that use them. The first C in CCTV is closed circuit television. Closed circuit television. Closed. Not available to every Tom, Dick, and Harry that works for city government that wants to be able to see where I went that day. If a cop wants to use those cameras to stalk his ex, he would need to come to the store and knock on the door and say, I would like to see the cameras from this point in time because this crime was committed. Or he would need a warrant. That basic friction of having to ask to get access to that video footage, of not having it all available in one centralized place all the time, with AI going through it and scanning so that it can tell exactly what people's fucking political affiliations are based on the bumper stickers on their car, is the difference between an authoritarian surveillance state and the United States, the Fourth Amendment, and the freedoms that we supposedly give a shit about. The freedom to not step on my keyboard while I'm doing the video. If a cop wants to solve a crime, he would have to go to my house or go to my store and ask for that camera footage. He cannot track 10,000 cameras in real time to figure out exactly where an ex-girlfriend is. There is friction, and that is good. I want there to be more friction than him having to type in ASDF or donut to get access to all of this, because that's what's happening in Houston. The police are typing in ASDF or donut. There's a little box, and Flock Safety has said this is going to fix everything. They're going to have to type in why they're using it so that they can't just do searches for no reason. They type in ASDF and donut, and nobody cares. And by the time they figure it out, it's too late because your privacy has already been violated. People are humans, and humans are idiots. Humans do stupid shit. Humans do shit like this and then try to use the justification of, I didn't sleep very well, so, my bad. I was being careless. I tripped and my head landed on the keyboard and typed in the name of my ex-girlfriend, who then I just happened to start stalking because, I got 5 hours instead of 9. Didn't take enough Ambien. Nah. I don't want that. And the thing is, like, there are many things in this channel that I have failed at. Like, I have failed with right to repair in many ways. I have failed to create a more repairable world. I have failed with a lot of the consumer rights stuff. But I do not want to fail at this. If I get to the point where I cannot leave my house without being stalked everywhere that I go by some fuckface that decides that he wants to see everything that I'm doing with AI surveillance cameras that can tell who I am and what my personality is and what I said and where I go and what I do and what my political affiliations are based on what my car looks like, I'm out of here. I love my country. I love the United States of America. I want to improve it as much as I can while I'm here. And I'm going to work to improve it as much as I can while I'm here. Thank you very much to Mr. Snoop for making this website. I really appreciate it. There's a donate link at the top if any of you also agree. I wrote the spec for this in mid-October, and by late November, he had a prototype, and by December, it was released. This website is a lot of work, and it's very awesome. You can click over here if you want to donate to Snoop. That does not go to me. But if I can't fix this in my home country, I'll be honest with you, I'm open to looking at alternatives. I don't want to be watched everywhere I go for the rest of my life. You shouldn't want that either. Every single day we talk about how ridiculous. You don't want to be like the communist Chinese, do you? And their authoritarian government. What makes this any different? Explain it to me. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. And I hope you are open to trying out this website. I'm going to include a link to this site. I'm going to include a link to all the arguments that you can use when you show up to those hearings. And I'm going to include a link to a Zulip chat that already has over 500 people that are all organizing all across the United States and beyond to try and push back against this. You'll also see Snoot there if you want to work with him on development. I know that this website is tracking at least 2,000 municipalities at this point in time, but there's 12,000 or 18,000 governments in the United States. It's a bit of work to do all this stuff. So if you want to help and chip in, I'm sure that he would love to hear from you there. I'll include a link to the Zulip chat in the description of this video. Thank you very much for watching. And as always, I hope you learned something. I'll see you in the next video. Bye now.